After installing and activating Visual Composer extensions the same way you would install and activate any other plugin, you will notice a couple of additions to your WordPress backend, and this video will guide you through those additions and explain how to use some of the plugin settings. The first addition you might notice is an addition to your dashboard, which will add a little info panel. All that panel will tell you is the current version of the plugin, the number of icon fonts that are installed, how many fonts are actually activated, and how those fonts translate into icon numbers. It will also give you a quick link to contact us via email or a quick link to the manual. If you do not like that dashboard panel, you can remove it like any other dashboard panel by using the screen options. Find the matching item in the list, uncheck, and it is gone. WordPress will remember that setting next time you log in. The most important addition to your backend, however, is a new menu item called VCE extensions. It will most likely be located at the bottom end of your menu item list. As you can see, in here you have access to a multitude of different settings and features, but the first step you should take at this point is to enter your license key, which will activate the auto update feature of the plugin and also activate the bonus plugin. In order to enter your license, either use the matching menu item over here, or you can use the tab item in here. Either one will bring you to this page, where all you have to do is enter your license key and click Check License. The plugin will then contact Envato or Code Canyon and check your license key, whether it matches the product, and if everything is okay, you will receive the confirmation message. And your plugin is fully activated. If for whatever reason you ever need to unlicense the plugin, you can either delete the license key and click Check License, or just click on Unlicensed Plugin over here, and the plugin will take care of it for you. If you do not know your license key and don't also know where to find it, you can click on that little image here, which will give you a quick guide through Code Canyon about how to find your license key. So just reactivate it again. After you provided and confirmed your license key, you should go through the plugin settings themselves just to make sure that everything is set up the way you want it to be. The plugin comes with many features. Not all of them are activated by default. The reason being that not every person is using all of the plugin features. So to keep performance as good as possible, some features are disabled by default. The first options you will see under General Settings is the placement of the menu itself. As you notice right now, the menu is on its own with a couple of sub-menu items. Some people prefer to have all plugin settings under Plugin Settings, which is where you also find the settings for the original Visual Composer. If that's what you want, all you have to do is turn off that setting, hit Save, and this main menu VCE extensions will be moved under here. You will, however, lose all the submenu items because under here WordPress does not provide that option. You still have access to all those submenus by using those tabs. The plugin can be fully translated. Currently only 2 languages are available, German and English, English being the default. You could, however, provide your own translation and upload it to the plugin. But if you prefer the default English instead of your native language, you can just turn it off here and the plugin will always use English. The Iconicum font icon generator is the included bonus plugin, which by default is disabled. That plugin allows you to use all the included icon fonts and their icons anywhere in WordPress via shortcode, and you're not tied to Visual Composer and its elements anymore. The bonus plugin will provide a new menu item to the normal text editor as you know it from WordPress, and from there on you can easily embed all those icons in your website anywhere you want them to be. If you design your page exclusively with Visual Composer, you will most likely not need it, so you should keep it disabled. Visual Composer Extensions also provides options to extend the rows and columns as they are created by Visual Composer itself. Those options, again, are disabled by default. There are several add-on plugins available for Visual Composer. Many of them provide a similar option. And many themes that come with Visual Composer included also have extended options available. Sometimes those extended row and column options interfere with each other. So we decided to keep those deactivated on default and leave it up to you whether you want to use them or not. If you turn them on, just make sure that no other plugin or theme is not providing something similar already to avoid any conflicts. If you do want to use them, just turn them on by clicking on those toggles. Another nice feature is that the plugin can add what's called a smooth scroll to your pages, which makes scrolling with the mouse wheel a little bit smoother. There's some animations tied to it. Again, some themes or other plugins might provide something similar, so if you turn this on, make sure it's not already provided somewhere else. The plugin also comes with a couple of custom post types. Those post types are used to feed information to a number of elements that you can use in Visual Composer. When those post types are disabled, as they are by default, those elements will not be available to you. The moment you turn those post types on, the elements will become available. Again, some themes or some other plugins might already provide something very similar. That's why those are disabled. If you're sure that nothing else is already available to you, just turn them on. We will provide an additional tutorial video to guide you through the post types themselves. This is probably the most important section for you. Down here you can completely disable or enable certain elements, so their corresponding files are not even loaded. That's a nice way for you to control a little bit of the performance of your website. If you're sure that you don't need certain elements, just turn them off completely, and they will not add to your server load anymore. Again, turning them on and off is as easy as clicking on it. You will notice that you have 3 different lists in here. Standard shortcodes equal all currently active and fully supported elements, which is the majority. You also have a listing for deprecated shortcodes. Those shortcodes have been retired basically in favor of other more improved elements. Sometimes it is not possible to constantly add to an existing element. Sometimes it is better to create a completely new one. In those cases, we retire or deprecate shortcodes or elements. If you still want to use them, all you have to do is turn them back on. And lastly, the plugin also provides some elements for some third-party plugins that are very popular. If you have either of those 2 plugins installed on your website, you can just turn them on. If you do not have any of those plugins, keep it deactivated. So once you made your selections on this page, your plugin is basically ready to go. All that is left to do is save settings. Which will take a moment and you get your confirmation. Since we just activated the custom post types, you will now see those custom post types in here. But again, we will provide a separate video to guide you through those. And that takes care of the general settings. The next step will be to define some language settings or translations for certain text strings. As mentioned earlier, the plugin includes some language files for the back end, but some of the elements, when used, use some text strings on the front end, and this section allows you to translate all those text strings into your desired language. So all you have to do is, this is the text string as it is used. In here you just enter the translation as you want it to be. Or if you don't really want to translate, just use a slightly different term for it, you can do that as well. Right now you can translate strings for the isotope posts element, for the countdown element, the Google Map element, and we will add more elements as they become available. Once you made your changes, your translations, again, just save your settings, and from then on the plugin will use your new translations. The next tab will bring you to the actual font manager. Visual Composer Extensions includes 12 different icon fonts, representing almost 3,200 different icons. That's an awful lot of icons, a lot of files to be loaded. So by default, only one font is activated, the font Awesome. In here you can easily add more icons, icon fonts to your selection by either clicking on the image, on the switch down here. Again, you could theoretically enable all 12 fonts. Just be aware that it might slow down your site a little bit because all that icon information has to be loaded. You can also define how each font file should be loaded. By default, the plugin will only load a file if a matching shortcode has been detected and that shortcode requires that file. With the icon fonts, you might want to use those fonts somewhere else, maybe in your menu, your footer, or outside Visual Composer. In those cases, there is no matching shortcode, but you might still require the file. So you can tell the plugin to always load Font Awesome, in that case, whether a shortcode has been found or not. Again, once you made your selections, save your settings, and you're ready to go. Visual Composer also allows you to import a custom icon font. We will provide a separate video for that routine, so we will skip that section for now. The next item will be your social networks. The plugin includes one element to easily insert social network links onto your website. This section allows you to predefine some of those networks and also define in which order they will be shown. Predefining is as easy as entering your information in here. Just fill in whatever you want to pre-fill. Sorting those items is as easy as moving them around. When you move your mouse over the description, you will see the cursor change. You can now, once you click once and hold, move that item to a different position. That way you can build your own order. That order will be applied to all elements that use those social network links. Again, once you're ready and happy with your selection, just hit save. If you wanted to reset it to its default, just hit restore, which gives you the option to either reset to the original order, which is what the plugin comes with, or you can sort alphabetically if you prefer that. The next tab will allow you to define some settings for the included lightbox. Usually you don't have to use anything here, but some people like to fine-tune their options. In here you can deactivate, for example, the touch and swipe, keyboard navigation, things like a zoom button, full screen button, whether the lightbox can be closed by just clicking anywhere outside the lightbox, or if you actually have to hit the close button. A hashtag navigation means that each individual item that is shown in your lightbox becomes its own link, own address. That is sometimes useful for galleries, but usually not required or even desired. So it is our recommendation to remove the hashtag navigation. If for whatever reason you like to have it, just turn it on. The lightbox also comes with a nice, in our opinion, backlight effect. The backlight is depending upon the content that is shown in the lightbox. For example, with an image, it will use the most saturated color in that image and provides a nice glowing effect with the lightbox. Most of our buyers like that, others do not. If you do not, you can just disable it here. The tab External Files allows you to control a little bit better how the plugin is loading its front-end files. As mentioned earlier, by default, the plugin will only load its files if they are actually required by a shortcode or by an element. You can change that in case you are planning to use some of those files on your own. Like, for example, if you want to load the lightbox files outside Visual Composer because you manually build some links, some features that use the lightbox but are not coming from the plugin. The same can be done with the tooltips, where you can load all icon fonts that are currently activated. We already went through that. You can do that individually, or you can just set it to all. You can load all files at any time if for some reason that is required. You can change whether the files should be loaded in the head or body section. Usually the plugin leaves it to WordPress to decide how to do that. And a couple other options that allow you to turn on some of the additional files the plugin is using, but it might be that another plugin or theme is already loading the exact same file. Sometimes that can create conflicts. In those cases, if you know the file is already loaded somewhere else, you can just disable it in here so Visual Composer extensions will not load it again. But usually, unless you're a hardcore user, you don't have to do any changes in here. The last tab we want to talk about in this video is the WooCommerce tab. If your website has the WooCommerce plugin installed and activated, Visual Composer extensions will notice that and provide that tab. If you do not have WooCommerce installed and activated, this tab will not be available. Reason being that Visual Composer extensions includes a couple of elements specific to WooCommerce. In here, you can control which of those elements should be available to you. Again, you get 3 different lists. The first list includes what WooCommerce calls standard shortcodes. Those are the shortcodes as they already come with WooCommerce. All we do is provide you an element to easily insert it into Visual Composer. Visual Composer extensions will not do any styling or any additional features to those shortcodes. All those elements will be processed by WooCommerce directly. But our plugin does include, and hopefully over time more, custom shortcodes that are specific to our plugin but are tied to WooCommerce. You can enable or disable those elements here. If at some point in the future we will deprecate or retire shortcodes, they will be listed here. And that's basically all there is to know about the most important plugin settings. The sections we skipped over will be explained in separate videos, as they do not actually relate to plugin settings, just to additional features. I hope you enjoyed our video.